Check, check, check. Check, check. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think we got ourselves a 30-second lag. Don't drop your mic. To the coffee. All right, this is our This here is our newest setup, and we're going to use it to put some handles on the cups that we threw. Well, we threw the cups about 2 days ago, trimmed them yesterday, made the handles, and now we're going to attach the handles to the cups. It'll probably be a second before I feel like getting started. I may still be within my own time. Well, 2 minutes out. So, hang out. I'm going to be organizing what I've done with my studio space is divided it so that I could have like an office behind us, and then my studio area, work area here. So I'm kind of creating my own little cage, and I'm gonna have to come up with my spirit animal's name so that I will feel more comfortable in a cage. A cage of your own making. If you could design your own cage, you'd be stuck in it, but if you could design it, would it be a cage? Well, it would be a cage. Would it be perceived as a cage? Doesn't tend to get cut off, but at this point we could use this. All right, so this is our latest vantage point, and with our settings, we have 30. I think we have about a 30-second lag. Last night I stayed up and rearranged some of this. I took all of the dark clay and I put it in the pot. So I'm going to mix it all down and evacuate the pug mill and then take it apart to clean it. I'd like to get kind of transition back into a white clay body. But in order to get back into a white clay body, you got to clean everything out. So you got to get rid of all the darker clays that have a lot of iron in it. And once the pug mill is cleaned out, the table is cleaned out, the tools are cleaned down, I stayed up last night and I cleaned the wheel. And so yeah, we're gonna just finish these handles. We have about 9. I think we have 9 cups and a number of handles, and we're gonna get to doing that in just a few minutes. Spend a little time in front of this camera and see if I can't kind of kickstart my head process. So far, it's been really difficult to work and talk unless I'm just kind of dually um, verbalizing the process. That still doesn't come naturally either. But we're going to keep shaping this space until get into a real solid groove for sharing. So right now I'll bring uh, up to the wheel when I do wheel work, throwing and trimming. I think yesterday we made the handles at this table, but it wasn't conducive for the cameras or the lighting. For some reason, back here, there's, I don't know why, it just throws me into a gray space like this. All right, I'll be right back and then we'll get started. Mm-hmm. Done and done. Transition. All right. It was nice to see that yesterday when I put the fan on the handles, they all seem to to dry up pretty well, and so I think that it was good for quickness. So these are all of our cups that we have thrown and trimmed, each a little bit different, well, a little bit, a lot different. And then these are all of our handles that we made yesterday, and Some of them are very unique. So we're gonna play with these and just try to figure out how they might work for a cup. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Other than that, I'm going to be just working through this in my head. And if I can figure out how to verbalize that process, then I will. Want my water? Hope everyone is having a beautiful morning. Okay, so I make more handles than I have cups because you really want to be able to have each cup given. Get that a C out of there. I might be able to move. Mm-hmm. Nope. All right. That may be fine. And we'll go with, I think that may be. So what I'll do is I'll just take the handle, and then I'll just kind of feel around to see how it nestles with my hand. Ba, ba, da, ba, ba, ba. All right, this actually feels really nice, just like that. Well, that might be odd because the handle has this weird shape to it, but in the end, does it matter if it feels comfortable for function's sake? Let's go ahead and just take off this extra because we know we don't need it. And then I'll shape it. Get a rough shape and then use your fingers at the leather hard stage of clay like this. You can hardly move the shape without breaking it, but the surface area you can, scrape, cut, score, add to, subtract, and you can just work the shape until you get the shape that you like. So this could be a handle shape. This is the portion that I thought felt good. This curve here, and this cut of all the other ones has almost like that same soft bulbous quality, and so I was thinking that this handle could go on this, like it could just straight go up like that and then have, that type of handle, or even coming off. I think it would have enough strength. But the thing is the handle didn't feel good this way. Like, yeah, it could work if you needed to pick that cup up, but I think that this way feels much better. So I'm thinking about putting it that'd be very contrasting to try to make this handle work with this cup. I feel like it's going to be this one. And I'm seeing it attached just like that. All right. So what I would do is if this is where it wanted to go, I will mark it so that it sits. Then I'm going to take that knot off, this big lug here, and try to form it so that it seamlessly comes out of the cup. It looks like this is always scary because then you're taking off so much. Getting close. It's kind of hard to show. So it's a really weird handle, but I found where it was comfortable, found a cup that seemed to kind of fit its form, and found the place for it, and then I went about carving it to make it fit. Now once it's fit, I'll just kind of mist this down. If I really know where it's going to go, then I can go ahead and just take a quick mark. What I'll do is just run around, and this way I don't have to try to come back later if I feel like I know where it's at. That. All right, so one is set. We're going to do the same process with the rest of these 8 cups, and once I match each one, then we'll start scoring and setting them on, and that will go pretty quick. Oh, I don't know if I had my array. Let me check that. Check, check. All right, that may be better. All right, next cup. I've got 2 of these with this organic fold. If you have a cup that's really wide, like this, that might have a small base and then a wide body, the handles, if you were to try to put a handle on it like this, it would end up getting, it has like a turn down to try to get out and then come all the way back around. And I find that the shape works better if you take the large portion of the handle and go underneath, and then that gives it the the ability to stay close up here and then be further away down here, and then gives you a vertical ability to pick up the cup without having to like turn your hand in. This cup is fairly light and well balanced, so I'm going to try to find maybe try to utilize a smaller handle. So you see how like I'll just take the handle and then envision what it would look like. This actually looks a little, I think this one could go with this cup. And I think I've got an idea to carve, to cut this in slices and then rearrange the pieces before putting them back together. But I really liked these curves, so that's what I'm going to try to keep. And I think this cup might be the one to go with it. Not certain, but I'll just set those together. We're just looking for matches. Handles that have like a double wrap or like a double line where it adds layers to it. I will take those visual elements and try to pair them with something that might have a line. And I think that one might work right there if we can get that to come down a little bit. But I don't know if the cup is tall enough for this handle. See how to do this, you'd have to wrap it all the way around, and then it just doesn't seem to work that well. Let me know, should I be engaging with this camera here or this camera? If I held something up like this, you think that would be the better way to engage, like this, talking to you here, and then letting this camera just be, just be? Or should I do this? I don't know. This is a new setup. Yesterday we did our first live stream at the table in the back, and it's just weird lighting, so I decided to bring it forward, and we've created this, we pulled this table out, and now we have created a kind of like an environment back here from which I can work, and feel like Feel like an animal in the zoo. Free admission. I think this handle will be really nice. I plan on, I think, cutting this piece off and then maybe like reattaching it like that or like this. Oh yeah. So I saw the curve of this and then the curve of that. They looked very close. So I think this is what I'll try to do. Let's try it. You got to get that angle just right. Once you take it off, can't put it back. Comments are open if anybody wants to ask, share. So that can nestle right against that, and I really like that, the mimicking of the curve. So now what I'll do is I'm going to just bowl it out a little bit. All right. Now, next step will be to figure out where to cut. I'm going to bring it all the way down into that ledge. And I think that when this comes off, you know what? Up and then in. We'll leave it a little longer because then we can come back if we need to. And trim a little off. So I was thinking about coming out like, kind of like that. But now I'm thinking it might be nice to actually pull it into the cup. I'll come back to it since I'm pretty committed. I know this is going to go with this cup. We'll go ahead and just take a step back. It'll be easier to figure out how to put this top piece on as soon as we get the bottom part installed. So we will let that set and moving on. I cut out these two square pieces, and my thought was to mount them like this. Was too thin for a handle, but And if I stacked them together, I felt like they'd be too thick. So I thought about separating them and creating a handle like that out of 2 square pads. And I think I'm going to go with I think this one was really a bold, kind of a bold cup. It's not square, but it certainly has some edge to it. So I was thinking about doing a square handle like that. And then have 2 of them next to each other. And then we'll punch a hole through it for a finger. I also thought this one could have a lot of contrast, but I don't want to. Nope. Let's make sure there's no other handle here that may fit. If you have questions, feel free to throw them in there. I'm just learning how to use my, try to develop some skills to work and talk. I do look up every now and again. All right, so we're going to go with this. Let's go ahead and cut the center out. See, we could go sideways like that. So we could attach a handle like that. But no. I'll mark it so that I know. Have any of y'all heard the idea that that the most charismatic people, extroverted, charismatic, go for it, are the ones out there, making the relationships, and they're getting a lot of the relationships, and then the quiet introverts, they do not. They just, quietly go about their business, which could be equally fascinating, as someone else who maybe knows how to self-promote. So I'm taking that idea and I'm applying it to the chat room, because I think it's known that, there's a lot of really, hard comments out there, trolls, things like that. And they seem to envelop a lot of the chat room space. But then we know that the people in the chat room are, like, there's far more nice people in the chat rooms than there are trolls. You just don't know it because, nobody is I say nobody, but a lot of people aren't trying to engage. They just want to show up. And so then it throws a bad light on chat rooms, because they can get ugly pretty quick. Anyways, we're still new to all this. We're just a little past a month in. This would be one of those cases of like a highly contrasting foot, or a handle. Probably will not be the most ergonomic, but sculptural handles, you have typically a little bit of sacrifice in order to, really push into a unique cup. So I think I like that one. I'm not going to mark it because I don't know where I want it to sit with these, organic turns, but I'll find the flattest spot, or I'll shape it in. So we'll set these aside, come back to those. So right now we're just matching handles. We got 6 more to go. Let's go ahead and work on this one. I like this handle. I like this shape. I just rolled it out with the dough roller. What do you call a dough roller? Rolling pin. All right. So when you redefine what a handle is, then you really can start doing some weird stuff, because who says, the handle needs to look like this? All of that was just, easiest, simplest, most functional. But that still kind of still mostly functional, but now all of a sudden you're having to ask, oh, how does this work? Is that as comfortable? What if I just stuck that to the side of it? It would look terrible and feel terrible. So I like these circular punches. This foot I trimmed all the way in, and then after the stream I had decided to punch the holes into the foot, and I did 2 side by side and then off center. What's up, Yuma? We are making mugs, handled cups, and so I might be able to just move the camera. So I threw these cups 2 days ago, and then I trimmed the cups yesterday, and then I made the handles. And so now what I do is I put the handles on the cups. And right now I'm just mixing and matching, trying to find out which handle wants to be where. And then once I figure that out, we'll start going. I really liked that shape, but I like the outside shape. This obviously is way too long to be a handle. Unless I actually did that side, that's kind of comfortable with the finger that fits into the knots. Thank you. So what I could do, I was thinking about cutting it in slices and then rearranging it to maybe put the two live edges on the inside and then the cut edges on the outside. But I'm thinking that this cup needs something a little more low profile. And so I think what I'm going to do is just cut the shape of the cup all the way out of here. And then we'll just come into it like that. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to start with a circle, and I don't want to break that edge for now. We more than likely will, but for now we're just going to what side do I want? See, that's the question. It's like there's it doesn't meet up in the middle since it's two live edges. So if I put my finger in this side, it becomes more comfortable for a left-handed cup. So if it was a left-handed cup, I would install it this way, right? So it would go in this orientation. Or would it matter if I even flipped it? It would just have to be, no, that would be right. Yeah, think through that. So right hand, left hand, it does feel more comfortable this way. So this will be the orientation that we go with. Got a little too choppy on that side. All right, more out of the middle. I think I took too much off of that anyways. All right, well, how's that? It's almost like it's got a tongue, like it's sticking its tongue out. But all right, I think that'll be good. And it seems to be nicely fitted. So I'm going to go ahead and score that. Or not score, but mark it. Like that. So now I know where it'll go. So set that in there, set it aside. Keep everything hydrated. Coffee's gone cold. This, I really think this one would be fine as a cup. Just leaving it as a cup. See, like this is a really weird handle. Do you know how to fix a bowl? I think it was made out of clay. My little sister dropped it on the floor. There's a lot of open-ended information there. If it is clay, then and the damage is to the form of the bowl, then really glue is all you can get. So this handle is just really kind of uninteresting form, not even really a nice curve or taper, but it does seem to have a really interesting hold when you put your thumb right on here and then go finger in like that. It's like that's all I really look for next to the form of it is how it feels in the hand, and that feels really comfortable. So I'll do that, and then I'll just go, okay, well, this is how this handle would work. What cup does it fit on? No, too elegant. No. See, this cup would probably be too small. I think at one point I was maybe thinking this handle would go well with this cup. But I don't know. We'll move on. I want each handle to be optimally placed, so I will keep mixing and matching until I find what I'm looking for. This one is really a light and delicate cup, so I think I might just keep it the same way. Since I know it'll be turning under. I'll do that. Oh, look, this is kind of like just a natural curve from, let me see if I can move that up. I liked that little natural crease right there. I've not done this before, so I thought what I'd do is cut it out like a split connection. All right, how high do we want that? We could do a low. Which I don't think would work well. But I think it's good to go from the bottom portion, so I think right there would be nice. So let me do this real quick. I'm going to shape this out since I like Nice. Nice. Now I'm going to just give this a nice cool bevel. Make it a little more soft, elegant. So you can make your handles and you just set them up. You just set them aside. And once you let them set up, then you can carve them and do a lot of, kind of like after work them after you make them. And it gives a lot more stability because you can just move it around, reshape it, add to it, anything you want. So right now we're just kind of like styling the curves just to make it fit a little better with this cup here. Since that has a hole through it, then it'll be interesting to see if the glaze runs down the cup and then like mixes through that hole. I do also want to kind of curl this tip just a little bit. So I'm going to hydrate it and then just set it aside. We'll come back to that. All right, 4 left. What do I want? This would be a rather sturdy handle. I think this one we had planned on making it into a loop. So let's try that and see if it looks any better. So is thinking the most expensive part of a process? I guess that's too relative because it would depend on the industry. But we do know that in processes, you have to get, or I guess a lot of industry try to eliminate the human factor. And the human factor is that I believe, it's in my opinion, that we have to think about what we do. Even if it's an automated process of like putting something here to here, we still have to think to do that, where machines, they don't. Let me go find something to move some water. Oh, I think I have something in my water bucket. So Oh, I cut the wrong side. But yeah, in processes, we're always trying to eliminate the human factor to think, and that helps speed up the process. If you don't have to think about it. Which is why artworks, handmade artworks, cost so much, is that almost every step of the process must be thought about. And then even artists, like even potters are, you become a production line. I've even seen painters. I've seen painters where they'll line up a whole row of canvases and then they'll paint one mark on each one. I got nervous doing that one. Held my breath. So this way, if you held it this way, you now see how the plane shifts, and then by flipping it, now the plane is this way. And so let's say if we use this cup, if we went right onto the side, it would be here, but then we could flip it upside down. Well, that's maybe a bad example. Maybe this one. So we could do that. So if I held it like this, that's comfortable. It would have to go under. If I held naturally, the cup would have to go pretty far under to sit on that plane. If we flip it upside down, why is that even? You can get a little more height on it. It's probably a bad example, but knowing how it sits on each piece, that's not bad. That's not bad because the lines in the cup, I could form those to, oh, that's nice. That could fit. You know, like some of those cups, they just hang on your finger. This could be one of those. It'll be a 1-finger cup since it'll lose about 15% when it's fired to shrinkage. I think that's good. All right, 3 more. Narrowing it down. I made this. Not quite sure I think I made it thinking of this cup. See the ridges? Okay, I think that's good. Maybe like that. And then it would pool into the pocket. If we flipped it upside down, we might be able to get a little more width away from the cup, and then maybe make it a 2-finger cup. Let's see if we can't stick these. Just go for it. Can y'all see that well enough? I like how it creates this split at the top. Mm-hmm. 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 Well, it looks like the way this handle is kind of naturally sitting, it's wanting to go upwards. I don't know, I'm feeling like this one here might be it's got the lines on it, the full foot, and then to have these weird pockets, that could be just throw it all at it. And then all we'd have to do is just give it a little bit of, I don't even know what it'd take to get a finger. I like that. I like that so much. We're just going to go ahead and put this bottom piece down. So this will be our bottom plate. We're going to snug it right up into that ledge. So I'll mark it. You can see that. Just mark it, and then I'm going to score it. Wet it. Score it again. Once you put something down, you typically don't want to do anything other than maybe just pull, like just kind of wipe through it, pull the slip that's squished away, but for the most part, you just leave it until it sets up a bit. So I think I'm just trying to match him up. That might actually be close enough. Clay will kind of clay gives you a lot of freedom for a material. It's very versatile, very easy to work with. I really wish this was not aiming downwards. Let's see if we can't shape it up. Let's just do that since we're at that point. Anybody's first time here? Any potters? Any artists? Creative people? Anybody working a day job where you can sit and watch someone else's day job? Anybody out there doesn't like commenting? All right, I think all this looks good. All right, so I'll do a little bit of water. Water helps keep air bubbles out. So you just kind of set it rough on, check the dimensions, make sure everything is where you want it, and then you can go ahead and start shaping. I'm gonna keep the inside flush so then I can take some of this off to reduce that weight. I can get 3 fingers in this cup now, but I don't know if that's going to be the case once it fires. I'm not like super impressed with this, but it was a tough form. And I don't know why I wanted to use that handle. Let's try this camera. Two left. Nope, that one is no good. This one may be good. Let's do that. Well, this way or this way. We could run it into the lip. Let's do that right there. See how I ran the bottom portion into this ridge, and then I found a flat spot at the top in order to run it flush. I'm going to mark this one. Get a little bit of water on that. All right, last cup. Right there. It probably has enough meat on it to be able to hold that without connecting it, but I think I'm going to connect it. And I think I'm going to take more off and bring it a little bit closer. Any hearts? No hearts? Anybody have a heart for that? Yay or nay? It actually doesn't matter because I am going to put it right there. And since this is our last cup, we're going to go ahead and start installing. So we've got all the cups done and matched with her handle. And so now all I got to do is make the installation. And then once I get that done, I will let them set up in order to clean them up afterward. All right, so my process will be you match it, score it, slip it where it needs to go, and then you let it sit while you do the next cup. And then once the next cup is done, then I'll go back and put them on. See how I give it that just a little curve. Oops. Better now than unloading it from the kiln after it was glazed. That's the worst or the hardest time to break something. I'm trying to move quick because I need to use the restroom and I want to finish these. Okay, so then we'll pick this one up, give it one more. Yeah, see, that's nice and soft now, very slip-like. And then we'll dip it in the water. Slip, slip. I'm going to try to round this one into that ledge on the bottom. Bring it up really close. You just kind of wiggle them together because you're trying to push any sort of air bubble out. All right. So you see there's going to be some cleanup on the inside, but I'm going to let that set up first. And then that, instead of just being like a slip that just wipes away, I'll be able to, you know, smush that into the handle. All right, now we grab the next one. Right there, we already know where it's going to go. Is the camera placement good for y'all? This is a new layout where we've been doing mostly wheel work when we do throwing and trimming, but now the time has come to where we got to get to the table. And when I went to the table in the back, it seemed to just not look good, and it looked really dark. And so I made this little setup last night, and we think it looks good with the two streams, so you can see the table, but then have a detailed shot. All right. It's not ready. He says, "Don't do that to me. You know I wasn't ready for that. Show off too early." All right, I like it. We'll smush it in. Smush that down. Is my stream glitching? Let me refresh this.
Oh, that's so funny. You see my eyeball going, boom, 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 boom. I think I've got that back up. All right. We'll leave those on because we'll come back and put them down later. Unless we should add. Mm-hmm. See, you just. What about that? Let's wet it, come back to it. Well, and that too was bound to happen. So we'll do one half and then we'll do the next half. Y'all want to hear the craziest story? It's interesting how this handle looks like a tongue from the top, and then it looks like a mouth where it's being scored down, where it looks like it's being scored down. Mm. It's mildly I think it's less form than function. But who knows? All right, that is, oh, it just fell over. Maybe I rounded that bottom too much. All right, this one was already cut and scored. So we'll just stick it on there. Y'all like this split camera view? Is there anything that doesn't work for you? A lot of this is new for us, so Leela and I are working through settings and trying different things to see what works. I know the other day we ran a stream and I guess there was something up with the chat where it was, it wouldn't pull up into the screen. So we felt like that could be an issue. All right, we'll let that set for a second. Let's do this one. Well, I just missed my mail carrier. I had a package for him and I thought I'd be done before he came through, and I am not. So, excuse me. So all the slip, you score, you scratch into the clay surface, you wet it, you let it set up and pull in and soften, and then you scratch it some more and add some water, and you're just really moistening both sides to this like really, this is called slip, but it's like just a watery clay. And so you get that surface real wet on both sides, and then you add some water just to ensure that there's no air bubbles within those scratches. And once it all kind of sets up nice, then you just set it in place and you just kind of like wiggle it as you push it in. And then it's like those two surfaces just, suck into each other. All that slip gets pushed out like that. And so then you have just a really nice connection, and then it'll start, absorbing that moisture, redistributing it into the surfaces. And then all of that slip that pushed out, it'll start easily drying up. So it'll start pulling that moisture in. And then once it gets to just a really nice, soft, yet firm, firmer clay, then you can just take it and just smooth it into the cup. So like for instance, this part here, you could do it now and just wipe it off like that. But then you see how it has this little divot there. And I like mine to just have a little bit more fluidity. So I will put that back. And then once it sets up, I will use that clay. That's all you really need to just kind of smooth those in. So these will just sit for a little while as they set up. So here, see all the little air holes, air pockets where we scored. So we're just going to drop some water into those just to ensure that there's no air bubbles and we get a nice connection. Nope, that's upside down. I think this handle may be my favorite so far, handle and cup. Now this one is a little different. I'm going to be cleaning it up as I go because I really want to make sure that you get it connected all the way and you don't have it lifted up like that. I do what I can to try to keep the handle from lifting up above the rim because in many parts of the process you have to flip cups upside down, and if the rim extends past, then it just becomes a hindrance. So the cup has to really be like, no, this handle is mine and it needs to go above the rim for me to make that effort. It's a really odd little handle, but this one went for function, and that does not actually work. Why does that not work? Well, it kind of doesn't have the same hold as I thought it was. Maybe it closed on me and I can open it up a little bit. All right, I'll rework that in a minute. This here was one of my favorite feet. I think I'm going to turn the whole thing, instead of going, I don't know, instead of going up the cup, I was thinking I would come straight down. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I'm going to go ahead and put this on. Almost done. We only got 2 left. All right, I'll be right back. Few minutes. Mm. Well, I think that might be. No, maybe there's another piece. Mm. No, I don't see anything. Right about or I could come down with it. It's a nice form, but you'd cut into only having one finger hold rather than two, and I think it really needs two at least. We could do three, but we would have to bring the connect all the way down to the foot, which wouldn't be necessarily bad. Hmm. What about that? Hmm. Well, we'll have to see where that goes. And the last last one. This here is our last cup. All right, I think we're gonna be done with this. I'll come back and do cleanup later, which is really just what I'm doing right now, except I'll wait till all the cups look like they're finished. All right, let's see what we got. So all these handles will just go back into the pug mill to get milled down. All right. I don't think. So, 1, Very bold, very robust, very eclectic. We've got throwing lines in the body, really large foot, tapered mouth, and then I've got this organic finger pressed handle. Don't know why, just went with it. This one to me still just seems to look like a tongue. Probably the most elegant, thinnest, lightest. Oh, you know what? I was going to add. I was going to add this right there. Should be easy. So when you put like a little finger ledge under a handle, you want to set it to where you would hold it naturally, and then you want that to just fit right under there, like wherever it would fit normal. All right. And I think I'm gonna just clean that up a little bit more. But these are probably the most functional handles because, you know, with one finger it just falls, but then with that support underneath it, then it just rests. So. simple. There's one we just finished. I'm not too pleased with the overall, but I think the function of it is really nice. It has a really nice hold, a really nice balance. I don't want to like put too much on it, but I guess visually it's just a little unsettling. A lot of lines that don't really seem to move together. This one here is really nice. I think it plays with the form well enough. I think this one looks like the ear. Looks like a Mr. Potato Head ear. I can't get 2 fingers in there, especially after it fires, but it's a really nice 1 finger. And then this element in the body also can function as a kind of like a finger rest. Like that. And then this one, I don't feel like I did something wrong. It feels really good in the hand, but for some reason I misread how it needed to sit. And so if you hold it naturally like you would, if you close your eyes and just hold it like you would a cup, you can see the angle of the cup that it sits. So then you'd have to actually tilt your wrist down and maybe carry it like, you know, your lazy carry. Maybe we'll call this like a lazy cup. Let's check the left hand. Not so much better. Not so different. Now, if I wetted the handle enough, what I could do is I could bend it into shape. So maybe I'll do that. It'll ruin the curve that I had created for it, but maybe it'll still be fine. But we'll have to let this set moisten up, and then we'll be able to reshape it. Anyways, I think we're done. That's 9 handled cups. These are the first handled cup demonstration that we've done here at Throw With The Flow. I did a cup the other day for the first time, throwing and trimming and making a cup. And that was, I think, what kind of prompted this next project to make some cups. I haven't made any in a number of years, and so I thought it would be nice to get in here and try that. We'll keep at it and keep building. This whole dual camera stream is new. This is our 3rd day using the 2 cameras, and I think that's doing really well to be able to get up close shots as well as some a little bit of context. And so anyways, we've got a lot of ideas. We're just moving through them, and we're going to do so while sharing our artwork. So we're done. Thank y'all so much for stopping in. I'm going to kind of wrap these up, revisit them a little later on. This will be our morning stream, and we're going to do another one after or later on this afternoon. we'll run a few errands and think of what to do next. We're not quite sure. We need to get into glazing. I've got a few hundred pieces in the glaze room that need to be glazed, but the whole process of getting the glazes mixed up and prepped, and then to figure out how to share that live is kind of the new trick. It's not making something, it's learning how to make something, and kind of share that process. So, all right, thank y'all for being here, for showing up. We hope y'all find that find it uh, find it something. If you're here, I guess you like it for some reason. So we appreciate that, and we're going to keep growing and building. Feel free to reach out. Let us know how we can modify things to maybe be a little more accommodating for viewing.